Hello, and welcome to Diminishing Returns, the show where we discuss a film, and then we pitch our own ideas for what the sequel ought to be. This week we are taking a look at Pacific Rim, the Guillermo del Toro, kaiju, jaeger, rock'em sock'em, smack'em whack'em action movie from a few years ago, because Pacific Rim Uprising is out soon. I think we mentioned this in the episode itself, but just to make it extremely clear, we recorded this ahead of the recent Oscars in which Guillermo del Toro won Best Picture and Best Director, I believe. So that doesn't factor into our discussion as much as it would have done had we recorded it afterwards. This episode contains spoilers for Pacific Rim. Enjoy. Yes, it's Pacific Rim. I am Sol, and with me, as ever, are a sort of big, brutish monster thing, Alan.
Ah, good evening.
And I can't think of a thing for Calvin.
I was wondering where you're going with that, like, just some scaly, slimy creature that crawled out of a crack in the ocean. That's the only other thing that could have been in relation to Pacific Rim. But hello.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, hi.
Right, so we're doing Pacific Rim.
Yes.
Why?
There's a new one coming out. It was touch and go there for a while. Didn't know if it was going to happen, but it is. Those international numbers were strong enough.
Well,
No.
okay, let's get straight into this. I didn't really know anything about Pacific Rim. So when I watched it, I was pretty blind. I kind of knew the basic concept, and I knew it was Guillermo del Toro, which made me think, oh, okay, maybe it's not as shit as it sounds. That proved to be false hope.
I was going to say, I'm really intrigued to know what you guys make of this one, because Alan's obviously going to hate it, but I can't quite tell with Calvin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I really didn't like it either. Really didn't like it.
This is the thing, on paper, you should like this, Calvin, because it's the sort of stupid nonsense that Resident Evil is, but done a lot better.
No, I don't think it is.
But I did have a sense that you wouldn't like it.
I think the production values are better, but in terms of story and action, it's not bad enough to make me... It's not like Transformers. Like, I can watch Transformers and kind of enjoy it on some level. This felt devoid of any kind of fun.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
it was so po-faced and...
Really? Oh, man. So, I mean, in case it's not clear, I like the film, so I guess I'm going to be its defender.
Sol, you've got a definite thing for kaiju creatures. But other than that, what are you getting out of this film?
Well, I was so excited for this film before it came out. Obviously, Guillermo del Toro is at the helm. It was very much a sort of passion project for him. It's a big... But, it's not one of his dark, gothic romance films that he makes, such as... This is going to be out after the Oscars episode, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a chance we'll be talking about an Oscar winner after... But anyway, like, Guillermo del Toro is he's very much a filmmaker who kind of does one for you, one for me. And, I mean, they're all for him, but he does a kind of Hollywood blockbuster, and then he'll do something really offbeat and odd and smaller. And this is very much him trying to do a marketable Hollywood film, which is somewhat ironic because it didn't perform that well. But yeah, before it came out, I knew it was Guillermo del Toro. I knew it was a load of like kaiju stuff. As you say, I really enjoy a good giant monster movie, but they're very, very difficult to come by because other than the first Godzilla, the hundreds of sequels are appalling, and there's just not a lot of good ones out there. And this film just seemed so unashamedly campy and fun before it came out. I mean, for fuck's sake, they've got GLaDOS voicing the computer system. I
don't know what that is.
The computer villain of the Portal video game series?
No.
I remember you telling me about all this, Calvin. You were telling me how good the story was, because even though you hadn't played the games, you read them on Wikipedia. This was years ago. I've since played the games, and she is a great character. Well, anyway, GLaDOS from the Portal games is a little fan favourite thing, and she's the kind of automated system voice, and they do the same. I think they had to get permission from the people involved, because they apply the same audio effects to a voice and everything. I don't know, it just looked like really good fun to me, and I'll admit I was actually quite disappointed with the finished film, because it wasn't, like, mind-blowing, but I think it's solid good fun. And I can't for the life of me understand people who kind of turn their nose up at it for being silly, because of course it is. It knows it is. That's sort of the point.
I don't know about silly, though, because
I'm not surprised that you don't like it. I've seen a lot of people criticise it for being, just utter nonsense, but then they will like some other nonsense film that, like I say, I don't feel is made as well, isn't as...
Well, the basic concept of, look, here's some giant monsters, let's build a giant robot to beat them, I'm all right with that. I could get on that. It got silly for me when they had the wacky scientists.
Oh, I love the wacky scientists. They're the best part of the film.
Yeah.
It just didn't fit with the rest of the film. And when they came in, I was like, oh, so this is a kid's film. This is like kind of a Power Rangers thing. Because they were so broad. The rest of the film didn't quite match with it. It was weird.
I think not only are the wacky scientists like the best part of the film, but I think the film's well aware of that, because it seems far more interested in following Charlie Day's character's arc than the very, very bland protagonist of the film.
I completely agree, but I think they feel completely out of place with what's going on elsewhere in the film.
Exactly.
But I love them. They're my favourite things in there.
Yeah, I never felt like they didn't fit.
I think because they're kind of supporting cast. The main guy is Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah.
And his story. But basically, what are they, Saul? I mean, you probably know this better than me. They're big robots, and in order for humans to operate them, you must have some kind of strong connection with a person stood next to you, and you control different halves of the robot. Is that the gist?
Yeah, there's giant monsters coming out of the Mariana Trench from another dimension or something. This weird portal rift appears in the ocean. They keep coming, and they realise it's going to be an ongoing thing, not just a one-off. So Earth bands together and builds these absurdly huge robot mecha suits to combat them, but they're so complicated. They use like a neural link up so that you kind of just think to operate them, essentially. And they're so complex that you require two people's brains working at once to operate them, because a single person doesn't have enough brain power, and therefore you have to have these people that are very like highly attuned to one another and capable of working in a team. And I thought actually that was a really nice little element thrown into the mix to make it a bit more than just people in robot suits.
I like that too, actually, and this was sort of near the beginning when I was still kind of like open-minded approach this film. I was on board with that. I liked that. It was kind of a nice little sci-fi kind of detail. It was believable in this story world that is something that could be done, like a future science thing. I don't think it really paid off, because I thought there was going to be something about this shared consciousness that was going to be very fundamental to the plot.
There is.
Which it wasn't. It was just more of an emotional... Go on.
It's massively important to the plot. Charlie Day's scientist uses the technology to like try and figure out what the monsters are doing, and accidentally like lets the hive mind know all about it. It's massively important to the plot.
That's true, yeah. Yeah. No, I'll give you that. But no, I was thinking more in terms of like Charlie Hunnam and nothing.
Yeah.
Well, nothing happens with his character, really, does it?
No, and I think.
But like the fact that his dead brother was stuck in his head, and like, I thought that was gonna. Yeah. It was just to give him a bit of trauma backstory, wasn't it?
I agree. There's not enough made of it in a kind of protagonist's emotional journey sense. It feels like that should be a much bigger part of the film than it is. But yeah.
But then they do say like, oh, it's someone you've got to have this really good connection with. That's why like most of them are brothers or something like that. Father and son. Oh, here's some strangers. Pick one that's going to be your partner. Like, let's find out who you've got a good link with. Like, what?
Yeah, I agree.
It's like speed dating.
No, but I agree. I could go with it more if it had to be a family member. It had to be a significant other, someone that you had. I get that they go through this training program and whatever to try and build a relationship with this other person, but it's yeah. I think it would have been stronger if it was just exclusively family members or people that you cared about. I don't know.
Yeah, but you can grow to like and care about someone.
But when they first When they first put the idea forward, I thought they were saying you have to have shared memories, like shared experiences, which is like these brothers who grew up together and sort of had these shared moments. That's why it worked.
Calvin, how many of your work colleagues are like close friends, or how many of your close friends are work colleagues? I mean, put it this way: we were just thrown together in a university course, and like out of 70 odd people, like we just happened to like. The three of us bonded and got along relatively well. I really don't think it's that much.
I would
of a stretch.
love to see the three of us try to pilot a giant robot together. I can't begin to imagine how that would go.
But I don't think it's that much of a stretch that you get a load of people in a room and some of them will kind of have a connection and bond really well. There's enough. Look at the population of the planet. Keeps going up. People keep shagging. They won't stop.
I'll tell you what, one of my main problems with it, and maybe this is why I've never really connected with a lot of kaiju films, is that the monsters, they look cool and they're big and they cause a lot of destruction and stuff, but unless there is some kind of plan or some kind of puppet master or villain or someone doing something behind the scenes and controlling them, because otherwise it's a wild animal running
there is.
Rampant. What is it again?
That's the twist of the film, and it's one I quite like, is that initially you think they are just wild animals running rampant, but after the mind meldy bit, it's revealed that this is like a planned invasion, and there's some big monster kind of...
They're just the scout party to kind of clear the humans out.
Yeah, I didn't care for that, because that's still... the same thing as like in Independence Day. The aliens are trying to invade, like they are trying to take over, but I don't know if that's terribly appealing.
There's no personality behind it. A villain.
I guess, yeah.
I don't mind that. I mean, that's just a personal preference thing, really, isn't it? I do think... I watched the trailer for the new one today, actually, for the first time, just to make sure that my pitch wasn't stepping on its toes. And they seem to be going down this route a lot more. In the trailer, another Jaeger shows up that isn't one of theirs. And, like, there's Jaegers fighting Jaegers. So there seems to be some nefarious people who... Oh, and at one point someone says something along the lines of, like, someone had to let them in, like, for them to get back into our world. So there's definitely a bit more of that in the new film from the look of it. But obviously that doesn't affect this one.
But yeah, this is often my problem with... I'm sure we'll get on to talking about... I mean, I've not seen the original Godzilla, but the most recent Hollywood version... One of my main problems with that was I'm just basically looking at two giant things fighting on screen, and the humans are relatively insignificant. We're following these character stories, but at the end of the day, they're not going to do a whole lot, are they?
The most recent Godzilla was bullshit, though. But no, I mean,
at least at Pacific Rim, it is people in a robot, you know. But then Power Rangers is...
Yeah. The reason why the original Godzilla is so great is because the monster is a backdrop for a human story. And I think that is absolutely the way to go with making this sort of film, generally speaking. I think this film attempts to do that, but like I say, the protagonist is sort of very dull and bland, so... it doesn't work as well as it might, but the woman is okay.
Can I ask, is it appealing that the robots and monsters in this thing are very big? Because this is something that I see talked about on like kaiju related discussions, where the size of the things is like really important to some fans, and I just don't care how big it is because it's not real. Why do I care?
I think once you get into the realm of it being giant, then, you know, it could be 100 feet, it could be 1,000 feet. It doesn't make any difference. It's like if it's massive and it can step on you, then it doesn't really change anything. I'm sure some people are judging the size of these things against each other and going, "Oh, amazing! This one's so big." But I mean, one thing I'll say actually against this film is I don't think it conveys the sense of scale that well.
No, it doesn't.
More towards the middle and the third act.
When you get them smashing buildings over, that's all right.
No, that's what I'm talking about. I think scenes with like scientists looking at the big monsters, you get a good sense of scale. But I think the action scenes largely feel like it could be normal sized people in a miniature village. It doesn't quite feel like you never quite get that sense of scale. I think personally, it feels very much like a video. Like I had a Godzilla video game when I was younger, and it was a fighting game, but you could tell that it was built the same way as any fighting game, with characters so big, and then everything else was just comparatively small, and it kind of feels like that in this film. And I don't know why that is, but
Guillermo del Toro, just to bring him into the mix, I was kind of waiting for like something a bit better to kick in, because Guillermo del Toro, he creates very interesting worlds and usually quite emotionally deep stories.
I would argue this is one of the most interesting worlds given to us from the director of Blade 2 and Hellboy. But
well, I would argue that you're wrong. So there. Because I was really waiting for like another level of story to turn up, where it became something more than just a big robot fighting a big monster, and it never did. And I kind of realised that halfway. I was like, oh yeah, Guillermo del Toro, take the money.
Yeah, as I've said repeatedly, I think it's a good example of that kind of thing. This is what Transformers and Resident Evil should aspire to be, in my opinion.
I was going to say, just if what matters is the action sequences, which I don't think there are enough of in the film, I find them very dull. And maybe it's because they tried to stay faithful to the size of these things, so everything kind of moves slowly, and it's hard to get a lot of dynamic action in that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not massively... I don't know, I wouldn't say what matters is the action, necessarily. It's just like...
Well, what does? If it's not the characters, then...
Well, I like the supporting cast. I like the broad strokes of the story, insofar as, like, the monsters are coming and everyone's got to run away.
This film wasn't marketed on, look, there's Charlie Day and Bern Gorman camping it up as crazy scientists. It was very much sold on, this is a fun action romp.
Well, yeah, it's probably why it didn't make much money.
Well, it didn't in the States, but it did worldwide, as I think we've already covered.
Yeah, but just because a film's sold one way doesn't mean anything.
Well, yeah, but so is all the only thing that you like in here Charlie Day and Bern Gorman?
No, I like most of it. I mean, I like the world that's built. I like the premise. I like the majority of the supporting cast. I like the production design, the monster design. I don't dislike the action. I like the little touches, like the joke with the little balls clacking away and stuff that probably pissed off Alan for some reason.
I saw this film a few weeks ago when it was on Netflix, because I noticed it was going to be taken off relatively soonish, and I didn't go back to it for the sake of this recording because I thought that I'd made more substantial notes than I actually had. I actually only made 3 notes. They're kind of broad, but I think we can maybe talk a little bit about each of them. My first note was, looks kind of cheap. Sets, picture quality. I do remember thinking it looked remarkably cheap, like almost
quality
TV.
Is a weird one.
I think. Well, I don't know if just misusing terminology, because I think Guillermo del Toro's films, or at least all the ones I've seen, do have a kind of artificial look to them. Like I feel like I'm watching sets, and sometimes I don't mind that. Like in Hellboy and stuff, I know he's a big advocate for letting the craft appear clearly on screen. He wants you to take in all the sets. He wants you to take in all the makeup and monsters and whatnot. But it did look like it was made for TV.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far at all. I must admit, I saw this in the cinema when it came out, and I thought the effects were perfectly fine. I rewatched it earlier for the sake of refreshing myself, and the effects didn't hold up nearly as well, but I did get the sense that I was missing out on a lot of the detail almost from watching it on a much smaller screen. And I
that's pretty true,
I think there's a degree of artistry about this that sells it that's maybe lost elsewhere. I definitely wouldn't say it looks like a TV production. I think it looks far more expensive than that. But
I think the action sequences, the stuff with the robots and monsters, all looks good, but it's the human bits. I don't know, there's something kind of just cheap about it. I don't know.
I watched this on a 13-inch portable TV, and it looked fine to me, so...
Okay. My next note was having trouble differentiating all these bulky blonde guys. I think there was a lot of well-built blonde men, and I was having trouble sort of with who's who. I knew Charlie Hunnam, obviously. But,
You couldn't keep up.
Yeah, there's the main one. There's his brother who dies, and then there's like some Swedish or German siblings or something, aren't there?
Yeah, I thought one of those was his brother for a while, but I don't know.
There's the Australian and the cocky Australian is dad.
Oh yeah, of course.
My last note was, love that at the end she just leaps into the water, as if that armour wouldn't weigh enough to sink a person. I think at the end, does she jump into the water?
Lightweight
It's designed to be in the sea.
Is it?
Well, I assume so. These things go in water.
Well, it's designed to be free-flowing so they can fight, so
Yeah.
it's got to be... That's just futuristic material, isn't it?
Mm.
I've got a general note here that I thought they really missed a trick, and it's based off the back of when we watched The Maze Runner, that I just think this is a perfect setup to have this as like a young adult film. Make that main character 15 and just type in a story, only like a young mind is powerful enough to be able to handle a robot. Boom, and it's perfect. And then I think you get away with so much more. I think because this film is made for that audience, so like why not just go all in?
Well, I don't know why you want to watch a load of like teenage boys running around so badly. I don't really care how old they are.
They don't have to be boys, you sexist, misogynistic pig.
I think what you're saying makes sense. Like it would be marketable in a way that it probably isn't, but it doesn't affect my viewing.
But I also think you get away with a lot more. It's like in the Maze Runner, it was like I'm willing to let go of this sort of the character stuff because they're just like young kids.
I wasn't. I hold them to the same standard as a grown-up film.
No, like I really agree with Alan. Like if you want to make like just the difference between like this or something like Power Rangers or Maze Runner is so thin, and I think if you want to make a grown-up kaiju film, then make it. I don't think this is it. I don't think this was meant to be a grown-up kaiju film. I think it was meant to be a campy, cartoony bit of fun. But who's it for?
Well, people who would enjoy a nice bit of campy, cartoony kaiju fun. Yeah,
but you don't sell a film on that in marketing. Like, you know, like what demographic is this age?
Yeah, but who cares about the marketing? Like,
but the marketing people, like the people who want the film to make money.
Yeah, so let them worry about it. Why are you so concerned about whatever company made the film lining their pockets?
I'm not. I'm trying to get an answer from you because I think what Alan is saying is really, I really agree with. I think if you were to market this film at younger people, and put a 15-year-old in place of Charlie Hunnam, then maybe it would feel more natural.
I don't disagree. I think it would probably be a lot more obviously marketable with a little kid or a teenager in the lead. I just don't see how it affects our enjoyment as how old the person is, personally. I
think it's just because if I was watching this film and going, oh yeah, this film's made for kids or made for like teens or whatever, I'd kind of go, okay, yeah, that they're doing that and I get it, but it's not for me. Yeah. Whereas with this, I feel like this is aimed at a more general audience, and so I'm looking at it and going, that's shit.
I just don't know who it was made for.
If anything, I always like it when I feel like, who the fuck was this made for?
I do in some cases.
If anything, that makes me enjoy a film more, because it's always like, I can't believe this was even allowed through the system. Like, fair enough.
Yeah. I have a couple more questions, general plot things. So when Wacky Scientist number 1, he manages to work out that the kaiju are all clones of each other, and they all have the same DNA, and he kind of presents this as this big revelation, which I don't know why it's taken 5 years to work that out, but whatever. Everyone like goes, well, we haven't got time to sort that out. I mean, there's no way that could possibly help us in any way. We've got to build a big robot. And it's like, surely that is that's a big moment. That's a pretty big thing to work out. Like, this feels like this should be really big. And the other thing is, why did they stop building the robots to build a big wall? And then the wall is immediately smashed down by the first thing that comes along. And then they're still going, no, we're just going to build the wall. It's going to be fine.
Well, are you intentionally doing some satire here, or?
Well, no, we're just...
Because, I mean, let's just see how the next few years play out with that wall, shall we?
So there was little plot elements.
I mean, the film never portrays the wall as a smart move, does it? It is sort of like this fucking government are putting all their hope in this
But
stupid
that's-
wall, and it doesn't make any sense.
But it doesn't make any sense. And then you've got Idris Elba, who's like a general who's gone rogue because there's no giving any money anymore. He's like, well, I don't need money. I've got robots.
Yeah, it's chaos. There's monsters coming in. The world would be chaotic.
Why?
Because
They've all come together
monsters
to
are
fight the
ruining it.
monsters.
The economy's gone to tits up because everyone's got to like work together now. So like,
Labourers would be earning a mint.
well, are they? Maybe in order to make it viable, they've had to like severely cut labourers' rights and pay, and it's everyone's very disillusioned with their work, and it isn't that's why the wall wasn't built to acceptable standards, because the labourers were just cutting corners every opportunity they got.
So about this, the girl, the female character, she wants to be a pilot. She's got a really good mind link with Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah.
But Idris Elba doesn't want her to fight and thinks she can't fight because she's too emotional. A silly, emotional woman she is. And he turns out to be absolutely correct. But you got Lado over there with his bloody dead brother, like, hanging on his shoulders. And he's perfectly fine to go. Apparently that's fine. What's the logic there?
I mean, Idris Elba's probably a bit sexist.
I mean, shall we say that the character he plays? In case any lawyers are listening.
I mean, I'll happily accept some beef with Idris Elba. For the sake
No,
of the
you don't
show
want beef
getting
with Idris Elba, because he'd like come round and smack you in the face, like he wouldn't.
Yeah, but it would end with us going out for a pint and being mates, so I'd be alright with
it. Okay.
So would you say for you, Sol, it is a switch your brain off sort of film?
About as much as I'll find a switch your brain off film that I enjoy. Yeah,
because
yeah,
you've
kind of
rallied
is.
against that phrase in the past, so I'm curious to know if this is sort of your sweet spot for that kind of.
Yeah.
This is to you what Resident Evil is to me.
Well, this is it. I don't have to like actively ignore anything to enjoy this film, because I think it is crafted well enough that it largely holds up to scrutiny. It just obviously isn't very interested in being more than that, and I think that largely seems to be why you guys don't like it, because it doesn't do the best job with its sort of emotional character side of things, but everything else sort of works and is
No,
put
I don't
together
think the action
properly.
works. I mean, they're already moving slow enough as it is, and then when they put them in water at the end, it's just like, oh.
I think I tell you what, again, going to the trailer for the new one, the action looks noticeably better. It looked a lot faster. There were lots of quite inventive new bits of like weaponry and stuff being used by the suits. So
The suits look more personalised in this one, or at least I can tell them apart from looking at the poster. They seem more like Transformers of the later Transformers films, where they all look like, okay, that's your sort of good on defense but low on speed. That's your one with a sword. I really hated the ending, by the way.
I'm not going to defend the ending. 'Cause it
Okay,
wound me
yeah.
up.
What happens
How
at the
there
end?
is Charlie Hunnam survives, and his partner is happy about that.
And that's the thing. I think it would be a great ending if he died there. The fact that he gets out to live another day completely ruins it, and he's not even coming back for the sequel, from what I can gather. So what was the point?
Yeah, they've got John Boyega as the lead now.
Yeah,
I believe
Idris Elba's son.
But Charlie Day and Bern Gorman have come back. As
Yes,
the crazy scientists.
thankfully, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who is? I know Charlie Day. Are you guys familiar with Charlie Day?
He's in like Horrible Bosses. I've seen him in stuff.
I've seen him crop up in one of the things. Isn't he in Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Isn't that what he's well known for?
He's best known for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I believe he writes that with 3 of the other cast members as well, and that's very much his day job and has been for like the last 11 years or so. And it's a very good show, Alan. You would enjoy it. You should watch it.
Yeah, I've heard very good things. I've never got around to it.
But he pops up in stuff, but he never really seems to. I mean, he's good. He's put to good use in Horrible Bosses, but it's a very disposable, albeit I think very good for what it is, comedy. But he pops up in films and he seems to struggle to get like decent parts, and I like him in this. I think it's quite a good use of him, and it's a bit of a counterintuitive casting choice in a lot of ways, but yeah, I like him here. Like I say, he's never really clicked in most roles I've seen him in films. It's always been a bit weird because he's not a conventional actor. He's very much. I mean, that whole It's Always Sunny group had to like cobble together this show that they write and then got to be in to backdoor their way into Hollywood. So yeah, but yeah, who's the other scientist, Calvin? What's his name?
Vern Gorman.
See, I love him in this, but I don't have a clue who that actor is, and I remember looking him up after I saw the film and not recognising him.
I think he first came to prominence because he was in Torchwood, the Doctor Who spin-off, and he's a very distinctive, he's a very distinctive looking guy, so whenever he pops up in a film, I'm very aware of who he is. He's been in quite a few like Hollywood sort of films recently.
I would cast him as a young Herbert West, or son of Herbert West in a Reanimator movie. He's got a real cult appeal about him. I'm not quite sure.
There is something, about his look. I don't know. It's I'm just looking at his filmography now. It's in the second Johnny English film, The Dark Knight Rises, Crimson Peak, Layer Cake, Fred Claus as an elf.
Alan, I bet you like Fred Claus, don't you?
Well, there's an element that I like. What about Ron Perlman?
Oh, he was good.
He was
I forgot
enjoyable.
about him. Yeah. There's a post-credit scene, isn't there, where because there's one of the kaiju things eats him at one point, and the post-credit scene is him bursting out of the creature, I believe. There was talk of like a big Pacific Rim, Godzilla, King Kong crossover somewhere down the line, and it was all going to be happening in the same universe, but I'm not sure how valid that is anymore.
I think a producer somewhere said it's a possibility, it's a very real possibility, and we're talking about it. Because this is the thing, it's the same company, isn't it, are currently building their Monsterverse with Kong Skull Island and the shitty recent Godzilla, and they're building to King Kong versus Godzilla. So given that they also do Pacific Rim, it does kind of make sense that you would hold out to smash them together down the line for a sequel when people are losing interest. And I think fair enough. It's not like any of those franchises are, I don't think it's beneath any of them. Put it that way.
Yeah.
That's pretty true.
I felt like there were a lot of video game influences on the film in general. It felt very part of this new wave of films that's taken video game design on board, particularly in the sort of set design and what have you. But
well, yeah, from what you were saying earlier on about the video game computer voice lady that they had in, I guess, if you notice that, then great, and this film's probably for you. But I guess Guillermo del Toro's a big gamer. Yeah,
I mean, Portal's one of the most mainstream popular video games ever made. It's not like an obscure thing, but yeah, I like the kaijus looking a bit shark-like. They were sort of like hammerhead kaijus and different types, and a lot of them look very shark.
Yeah, and there's a crab one. I figured the point of that was they were taking DNA from creatures they found near their cavity and were kind of combining them to make these big things. I assumed that was the idea behind it.
I do think the film would have benefited from a wider variety of different kaiju, though, because they're all ultimately big lizard-looking things with like humanoid proportions, roughly. They're not like there's never like a giant octopus or a something a bit weird. I don't know. It felt like a bit more variety would have benefited the film, but then I guess they can do that in the sequel, can't they? And I liked when the robot tank suit thing used a boat as a big club at the end. That's my last note. Well, I enjoyed it. I thought it was decent fun.
Did you?
Yeah. How much would you give it out of 10?
It's senior 7s, this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I suppose that's...
I mean, it wasn't amazing, but it's solid, good fun.
What about you, Alan?
I gave it 3.
Ah,
Ooh.
Okay. Well, I'm
that's less than you gave Diamonds Are Forever.
That's true.
I gave it 4.
I mean, you guys like The Maze Runner. Come on. This is
Well, what would you do if you were Guillermo del Toro or Stephen S. DeKnight?
Well, actually, I can. If I go straight into mine, that's a good segue because
is
my pitch is basically that this just didn't feel like a Guillermo del Toro film to me. So my pitch is to put a proper Guillermo del Toro spin onto this idea. First thing, I want to make it a period piece. You want to get some of that retro futurism that we love. So
I would enjoy that very much.
yeah. So I was thinking like late 60s, maybe early 70s. And because it's Del Toro, it's going to be like Franco's Spain.
Yeah, let's do like medieval.
Yeah, actually, I guess that. Yeah, let's go proper old school with it. That'll work. You established, the monsters. They're attacking like once every month. People, the world having to come together to find a solution. Blah blah blah. Now all the creatures, they look different. They're different designs and everything, but they are all kind of particularly tall and thin with kind of big eyes. They look suspiciously like Doug Jones, basically.
Oh, okay.
They all look. They create the giant robot soldier things. Robots are controlled by humans, but and the neural link and all that.
Wait, is this set in medieval times?
Well, obviously not.
They build a giant suit of armor.
Go on then. You'll have to convert it.
All right.
How do they do
it's
neural
a giant
link?
suit of armor, and it's all like it's analog rather than digital again. It's all like gears and mechanisms.
Oh, yeah. I want to see some cogs.
Yeah.
Clockwork robot.
And there's like 100, men working it, pushing it, like to make it all. Like there's like a captain calling the shots, but then like an old slave ship. There's just loads of men.
Yeah, they go left arm
forcing it to move. Yeah.
Someone's running around a big wheel,
hoisting the chains.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah. Well, what I had was a 12-year-old girl controlling it called Maria. Because,
Okay, so that's fine. It's just she's like a princess who's ascended to the throne at the age of 12 because of like the royals and how it works.
I did, but I did think like they could, because like you want to think they have to use like young minds, malleable minds, but to find out which ones are best and which ones are best suited to it, they put everyone in a maze and attack them with things. And then the ones who escape, they're the ones with the good minds that can control robots, right?
I
don't know where I got that idea from.
Your attempt to make this more of a Guillermo del Toro product is to rip off The Maze Runner. I'm sure that's his favourite book.
Yeah,
other than Frankenstein, which he never shuts up.
Yeah,
about.
you do it like that, but then you just make everything a little bit green, and that's really arty. So we got So yeah, we see her, this girl. We see her go through training, background story. I wanted to get like matched up with her personal robot. You get linked with, have a bit more of an emotional connection with your robot. It's like your thing. I thought it'd be good if the robot was played by Ron Perlman, but with like bits of metal stuck on him, so it looks like a robot. He's like going, "I am a robot." I think Ron Perlman would be particularly good at that. Blah blah blah. It's the same plot. Everybody else fails. Maria manages to save the day by not only defeating the monster, but also like plugging up the breach where they're all coming from. And the whole thing is like a coming of age story, which is, mostly an analogy for menstruation.
Huh.
Yeah.
Because my idea is just like if the entire appeal of this sort of thing is just seeing big things fighting in cities, then just do like a Koyanis Katsi like Fantasia version of that and just score a load of huge robot action sequences to classical music.
I thought you were going to say just do a museum, and I was getting really excited. I'd love that.
A museum?
Yeah, just big monsters in a museum.
My pitch is a museum.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, my pitch is a museum. It's a massive museum.
Sold.
It's huge. It's got to be big to fit all these things in. A massive kaiju zoo. There will be a statue of me in front of the building, and I will invite guests along. Welcome to what's it going to be called?
Kaiju Jurassic Park.
Oh, Calvin Dyson's Kaiju Jurassic.
I was going to say, as if Calvin's not going to put his name in the title.
Yeah, Calvin World.
Okay, Sol. What would be in Calvin World?
Well, all right, Calvin World. You'd have the original dentures. Like some big, like they're the gates you go in, like the gates of the big gap in the
What,
teeth.
you mean my teeth before I had Invisalign treatment?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
So that's
the gate you have to walk,
start.
the big entrance you
walk
walk
through the big gap.
Yeah, and
Okay.
and it can allow 300 people to pass through at once.
Oh.
All the staff are 45-year-old women who are 6 foot tall.
I'd like to have Kelsey Grammer in a case. A glass case.
I think Kelsey Grammer and David Hyde Pierce should have a sort of residency on the stage, doing like just performing live episodes of Frasier.
Brilliant.
3 shows a day.
You got to have the Hall of Bonds. Oh, a big repository of Bond memorabilia that you can go and see. All limited edition to 350 pieces. Fish and milk at the restaurants.
There's a massive gift shop. You get like halfway into the park and there's a gift shop, and then there's like you can't move for just gift shops trying to sell you like rubbish.
What are you talking about? Why is that me? You're saying I'm some kind of crass capitalist?
Looking out for that bottom line.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, there's the studio lot tour from Universal Studios that's just been like removed and rebuilt brick by brick with the Psycho House and the Jaws that comes up and like attacks the car.
Okay. So, as someone who supposedly likes this film, what is your pitch for a sequel?
I mean, why are you casting aspersions about my enjoyment of the film? I don't even understand what...
It helps me to not think less of you as a person.
You liked The Maze Runner. Pacific Rim. Yeah, more like Terrific Rim, am I right?
No.
Hey?
No, you're not right.
Oh, I wish I was having a terrific rim right now.
Oh, God.
Oh, we made it this far. Okay. So yeah.
Do women... never mind.
What?
Let's just
Come
get
on.
through it. Let's just get
No,
through
come
it.
on.
If you get the
Come
right
on.
one.
What was it? Come on.
Do women like that sort of thing?
What sort of thing?
Rimming.
Giving or receiving?
Both.
Well, if you take the right one.
I mean, does anyone really? I mean, I'm sure they do, but it's more. It's not something you do for yourself, is it? Really?
Well, I would if my back wasn't as stiff.
It's something that women do, and
Anyway, so what's your pitch, Sol?
it's just the thing is like I don't think it's that commonplace to do it on a woman, because there's another bit nearby that makes a lot more sense to do that to, and is generally feels better, I think, because it's designed for it.
Depends what you're into.
You're saying all those nerve endings that end around the... Oh, sorry, what?
I mean, yeah, whatever bit you're referring to, I'm pretty sure it's got fewer nerve endings than the female clitoris, so yes.
You'd never know it, though.
Clitoris. Alan, what's your mum called? Just thought I'd do a shout out to her, because she'll be enjoying this discussion. Anyway, so my pitch is a rare instance of me actually doing a legitimate idea for a sequel that could actually feasibly occur. And it's probably not that interesting as a result. To you two, particularly. So at the end of the first film, this guy, Charlie Hunnam, he goes through the little time-space tube, plops out the other side, and then he leaves, but... we've established that that's a viable thing. So the basic premise in the sequel is similar to the actual sequel. Years later, some monsters start popping up again. Only like small ones to begin with, but it catches everyone off guard. They get really worried because they thought they'd solved things. And it turns out that a new rift has been created for these things to get in through. And we'll put it in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean this time for a bit of variety. And so the shit's back on, right? So all the Jaeger people start prepping to like strike back whilst they can. They get a team of their best and brightest together. They build a machine that will allow them to pass safely into this other world. They basically send a sort of troop of Jaegers in. Let's like say, you know, a good 100 or so Jaegers, like tank things and walking things and what have you, all captained by a big a centurion, I suppose, if there's 100 of them. They're going there with a plan to cause mass extinction and wipe the things out. So it's like a proper bit of warfare. And to try and make it a bit different from the end of the first film, I've decided that it'll be like a germ that they're going to distribute into the water supply or something like that.
Okay.
That they've manufactured. Your film is put together in a kind of the style of like a classic World War II film with like your troop behind enemy lines, you know, as they group of Jaeger pilots go into the enemy territory and have a load of fights with them, making their way through the alien landscape. And yeah, that's it really. Is
this like, does the end of this turn out to be like, and we were the monsters all along because we go in there to their world and destroying them, and they have to build a big wall?
I mean, possibly if we get to a point where maybe they meet a civilian kaiju with like a little baby kaiju along the way, wearing like a sort of headscarf and crying in foreign language, and you know one of them shoots at dead, and they're like, "Oh, that," you know, they build that way. But no, I don't think so, because they're all clones built to kill us. Aren't they? So
they're not going in to win hearts and minds. They're just
killing. Wipe them out.
All right. That's a nice message.
But obviously they don't wipe them out, because then how can you make the third one?
Indian Rim.
Mediterranean Rim.
That's not an ocean.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Too small. Get like mini kaiju. They're only like about 22 foot tall. They're quite annoying, but not deadly.
What other oceans are there?
Indian, Arctic, Atlantic, Pacific.
Arctic Rim, eh?
Sounds cold.
This is good, isn't it? We're like naming oceans and saying rim. It's high quality content.
Anyway, are we done?
Yeah, I think so.
There you go. That was Pacific Rim. Hope you enjoyed Pacific Rim. As ever, if you like that, please spread the word. Get Diminishing Returns out there. Go find us on social media. Go to dimreturns.com, our website. All the links to all the social medias there. There's some other stuff there. Get involved in the discussion. You know, did you hate Pacific Rim as much as Alan and Calvin? Did you think it was all right, like I did? Let us know. And do come back next week, because obviously Ready Player One's coming out, and we're doing something rather unusual and interesting for us. A real change of genre, so to speak. So, see you next week. Bye!